Well, it's Halloween. Ghosts and goblins and things which go bump in the night is part of this ritual, pagan ritual. Toscana, Malaspia Castle, which happens to be found in Massa Carrara. I think in the Middle Ages, not precisely, the Marchese of this aristocratic family who lived in Toscana had a beautiful daughter, 14 years old. But the fact is, this young lady at certain age, well, at that age, loved to dwell with young men in bed. She had many lovers, and most of them were executed by her father. And last but not least, one of her lovers, which happens to be the stable boy of the castle, of the royal family, well, how it went, whether they were caught in bed or not. Dad and Marchese decided to execute the last lover, and to punish her, in a fury, jealousy, lost control of this bloke, decided to wall alive his 14-year-old daughter as a punishment, together with a certain amount of animals which she loved, pets, I should say. And obviously she died only after a certain time, after restoration of this castle many years ago, don't know what precisely. Her remains were found behind these walls, a skeleton and even remains of the animals which were buried, I shouldn't say walled, alive inside. And they say her ghost wanders this castle for some motive she never found peace. The fact probably her lover was killed, and probably that one was the one who could have, you say, really loved her, not just one of those past times in bed. Literally, she had many lovers like this for sex. Probably it's probably the one she probably loved. That's probably why her soul was tormented, and she never managed to pass over to the other side of that dimension, beyond this world, I should say. And now, Ancetta Costanza da Libyan, known as the Witch of Lari, was a midwife. She moved to San Miniato, becoming a widow. In 1564, she was accused of witchcraft because she healed people with herbs, which is an antique type of medicine in Europe. And obviously got the church seen challenge their authority, their knowledge, and their narrative, and many fall victim to witch hunting, like this Costanza did. And today you can consider you can't consider it as witchcraft because herbs and all this stuff is becoming a big return, you should say, in healing. Alternative medicine, it's called. And they tortured her physically and mentally. She was the age of 59 by the Inquisitor of San Miniato. She happens in Toscana. And they didn't burn her at the stake. They left her die like this. And she was, how do you say, prohibited to enter inside the castle dwellings and walls of this town called Lari. And obviously died sometime afterwards. Some say you can even hear chains going around Lari and hear a pain echoing in the night. Another soul, tormented, despite she tried to profess her innocent. She was innocent in the end. To our standards of knowledge, that was ignorance of those times. Witchcraft, accusing someone of witchcraft is just another way of going after dissidents, those who didn't follow the narrative of that time, that was the church or God knows what else. The old hospital, psychiatric hospital of Volterra, I visited twice. It is very eerie and spooky. How it become to be. On the grounds that used to be an Etruscan cemetery, which goes back many thousands of years ago, where the local inhabitants, which were Etrusques, where they buried their loved ones there. And in the 15th century, they started building the construction for the foundations of a monastery, thus digging up these antique graves of these ancestors of the Toscana. And then after the monastery, around about 150 years ago, they built a psychiatric hospital. You know, in every psychiatric hospital of that time, everywhere in the world, the patients were tortured in the name of curing them, which wasn't cured, just pure torture. Some died due to these injuries, and some remained permanently damaged until they die naturally, in a question of time. And obviously in these areas there is pain and suffering, and there tend to be souls which have been trapped in this world for some reason. They never find that peace or concluded something on their earth while they were alive, and never had that chance to pass from this world to the world beyond, where we believe everyone who we lost, whether it's a friend, a loved one, a family, who died of something, is probably there waiting for us for one day. And probably there are entities, evil entities, which suffering and pain of people is type of nutrient for them. Whether you believe in these things or not is another story. But if you go and visit the hospital there, you will just turn ice cold. There are weird things goes on there because it's a very tormented place. There's been a lot of suffering, and obviously disturbing the graves of antique descendants of the Toscana, which happens to be the Etrusques. What is considered a sacrilégio, or something wrong you done towards these people, who is their internal what you would call it, resting place on the earth. And obviously there's a lot of spirits and entities which probably float around there. Some are innocent, suffering, and some are evil, which probably impersonate these subjects who have suffered a lot. this is a nice, you can consider it a ghost story, but these are local legends which here in Italy, I live in Toscana, especially the castle of Lari. I live there, Lari, yes, not far away from the castle. Regarding the psychiatric hospital, I visited twice. Now it's closed. There's the new, what do you call it, hospital there. Regarding Malaspina Castle in Massa, I think one of these days I'm going to have a visit. You could even sleep there in the old castle, believe it or not. Very chilling and spooky stories for Halloween.